You are listening to High Minds, the podcast where we elevate the conversation on culture, sports, politics, and entertainment. Stay tuned for a higher perspective at the intersection of everything.
Oh, what's good? What's good? What's good? We are back. Missed everyone on Friday. I don't know, what were we doing? Just chilling. We're not going to be here every Tuesday and Friday. We can't put every Friday and every Tuesday to the fucking the microphone.
I'm gonna have to miss a Friday here and there.
Oh yeah,
got stuff to do.
We got shit to do, man. But we thank everyone for being here, everyone for listening, whether you're on the live stream or whether you're listening to the podcast. We're gonna switch things up a little bit. As we move forward in this podcast, just kind of figure out like what works for us, what doesn't, what we like doing, what we don't like doing, and I think we're gonna really focus on our top fives and really get into that. And we want some engagement. So tell us we're wrong. Tell us why we're full of shit and why your top five is better than our top five.
Just talk. I don't know. Those seem to be fun conversations. I don't know.
Speaking of fun, how's your root canal?
It's good now, but I had to have it done in 2 separate days, so it just made it. So you go through the whole killing the tooth part, and then go through that.
What do they do
after?
What do they like?
Drill down into your they numb you so well though. So but that's the worst part is when they're jabbing you, you can like feel the needle go in, but not feel the pain.
Yeah, that's weird.
They blow it out. It's weird, and they're going deep. You're like going, that is deep in my jaw, and then so you can't feel anything, but it's the smell too. The like burning of I never knew the smell of your tooth, and like you can just see like stuff flying in dust. But they drill down, I think, down into the those how a tooth has those little like
roots.
Legs. The roots
little
they drill
legs.
down in there and basically kill the nerves. So I had a cracked tooth, so it was bothering me, and so I couldn't really. I've been eating on one side of my mouth and drinking one side of my mouth for like weeks, just because cold or hot would just sting. But so I had to go through that pain. So then that whole night I was just numb and my jaw just hurt. And then, a couple days went by and I was fine. And then the crown, I had to have a crown fitted. And that wasn't as bad. But they still had to shoot me, numb me.
Yeah.
But they do it this cool way because they make the tooth, like the crown in the office. I never knew that. And it's like,
really?
And it matched the color.
3D printer?
Like, 3D printing tooth machine. And they match like the color of your teeth and stuff. So like when I open my mouth, you can't even tell.
Nothing. You didn't go gold?
No. Yeah, you can't even. It looks exactly like my teeth.
I remember like when have you ever had your wisdom teeth taken out?
Yeah, that sucked.
And they they hit some nerve later. I mean, I didn't have any issues. Lindsay had pockets, dry pockets.
Oh, yeah, those dry pocket. Yeah,
I never had.
Mine went pretty smooth, but yeah, I remember that. That's the blood. That's all I remember. It just bled like this. The gauze you could pull out, and it's just like you got in a big ass fight, just got your ass whooped. You come out all swollen,
looking like a chipmunk.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't like the dentist though, man. It seems like I don't know.
I'm not a huge fan.
I like when I need them.
Apparently, I get a cleaning. They're always like, "Yeah, you're doing great. Whatever you're doing." I'm like, just winging it. I'm sure I'm doing it wrong, but
surprisingly, my teeth are, fairly well. Not the best color, but like, no really cavities. No, I just had to do this because I cracked it, so I had to split. But it was same thing. My teeth are actually, for not taking care of them or not going to the dentist ever for years and years and years. I never fucking went to the dentist, man.
No,
we didn't. I never, as a kid, my parents never took me to their own dentist. So it's like I never took care of my teeth, even when I was working, at UPS with that crazy good insurance and stuff. I still didn't go.
Just a pain in the ass.
And then, it's not like I didn't brush my teeth. It's just I wasn't, the flosser every day, and I never did that. there'd be days where I go a couple days without brushing, a long weekend. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit, even like years ago. Now I brush just because, but you hear
I think I got one of those cats out there. You know when cats fight? It's crazy sounding.
Oh, they're fucking.
Yeah, maybe they're fucking too.
They are.
Fighting, fucking.
That's the worst sound.
That sounds the same.
That's the worst sound, especially at night when it's like 3 a.m. You just hear that.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
I had to go it's all good now.
You're all good. You're better now. That's good. So, I'm not a big fan of teeth stuff.
I'm not a fan of anything in an office.
Yeah, I don't like doctors.
So a funny story though. So every time I go in, like I'll smoke right before I go in. I need to just I'll smoke a lot, like right when I'm going in. Because I just want to be relaxed. I just hate those places. But they take your damn blood pressure. And my blood pressure goes crazy high when I smoke.
Oh, does it?
Your heart starts my heart starts to boom, 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 boom. And she's like, taking it, and she's like, oh, I think you need to go to the hospital. Your blood pressure is just crazy. I'm like, no, because I'm always high. I always measure high anyways. Until they use the big cuff. They have to pull out a bigger cuff because they use a small thing. So she ended up having to do it on my forearm and stuff, and then I went back down. But yeah, I'm like, so I did an experiment Monday or yesterday. I didn't smoke at all, and then I went in, had it done, and my blood pressure was fine. I didn't say anything.
Oh, really?
I'm like, whoa, yeah. I've never done it before. Smoked a lot and then taking my blood pressure. I don't know if it was just a coincidence.
Maybe. Some people get lower blood pressure. Some people makes it go up.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something to keep an eye on, though.
Yeah, it was just weird. It was wild. So
yeah,
I don't know. Ruh-roh. But anyways,
yeah. So today we got the and we're gonna try to announce the top fives beforehand, moving forward.
That way you know if you want to pay attention and hang around or not.
That's right. If you want
like
to
today's subject, I know. Today's subject.
It's just gonna be random shit. Today we're going with NFL dynasties, and the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna list. You got a list in front of you? Or you want me to pull up one? We all kind of know the dynasties. We just
I have a list of some teams. So
all right, we can throw them out there, and then we'll banter about them and place them.
Yeah, we can. I don't know if you have a few that are different. So I know we're gonna have quite a similar list.
Yeah, we'll have a similar list, but we might not include your favorite team, Falcons. But if we were talking about the Sharks or NHL, we wouldn't be including my favorite team either. So,
and also it's a dynasty, and that's different from like a best franchise or anything like that.
That's true. Or individual team, because some teams have had like unbelievable seasons, and then they don't do anything after that.
Yeah, dynasty is kind of that team that's kind of made a run in like an era, like a good. You know what I mean? One of those teams that are just like, not like, name one that's not going to be a dynasty, like, the Chicago Bears. They never had.
The 86 Bears aren't a dynasty either, but they are one of the greatest teams. Probably.
But as a franchise and as a like an all-time great team, they are, the Bears are up there. But as a dynasty, no. So. That's because I was thinking about that too. I'm like, oh yeah, there is. It doesn't correlate.
What is a dynasty though? Like, what is a dynasty? Like, some people say, like, I remember when they were talking about Brady, it was the dynasty over after a couple. Like, I feel like some people, they define the dynasty too narrowly. Like, you got to win the Super Bowl. In like, you can only go like a year or two without a Super Bowl. When it's like, I don't know. I don't know about that.
I see it as you have a period of time, like a team, that's, take that period of time where they have a run, where they're making the playoffs, but also going to a Super Bowl, even if they win or lose. Even if they lose a Super Bowl, that still is a part of that. You know what I mean? You made it to the game. You've made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Every year, as in an era, like, and then you made the Super Bowl 4 times and you won it 3 or whatever, 5 or
exactly. Yeah.
That to me is a dynasty team. That is like something that doesn't come along, too often. and to see that.
Right.
Now, if you're winning a Super Bowl twice in a decade and you make the playoffs 3 times, and you win 2, like it's not a dynasty. That's just you won a couple championships, in a 5, 6 year, 7 year period. But it's the whole. Yeah. I think it's you kind of take a whole time period chunk and kind of measure what they did through that period.
Yeah,
and also the players. That kind of makes a difference too.
If they stick around,
what kind of players come from those teams? Yeah, those players. What kind of players develop from those teams? And there's some teams, and usually a dynasty team, the players stick around for that dynasty. Like they're there. You have that core team for years. So, but I can give you an example. We'll kick it off with one of the first teams. I thought of, which is it's in one of them is San Francisco 49ers. We'll throw on the list. That's an easy one.
Are you talking like the 80s and 90s Niners?
Yeah. We'll just let's just throw some teams and then we'll go through and like what team we think, like how we want to rank them. But yeah, the Niners is I think their 80s era. They had that.
You had 81, right?
Yeah, you had 81, 84, 88, and 89.
84. Yeah.
So they ran the 80s,
and even if you want to, I mean, it's probably you probably can't include 94 when they beat
94.
But that's a little, but that's like it's kind of on the border.
It's still it's still remnants of that era. Team kind of
still had Rice
coming around. So
I think they still had Rice. Steve Young was their quarterback though then.
Yeah, they had Joe Montana for the 4? Did he get 4 3 in a row? 4.
He didn't get 3 in a row, but he got the 81, 4, 88, and 89.
Yeah, he got the 88, 89. But so he had the 4, and then Steve Young came in with the 94. So 49ers definitely on the list. You have another one you want to throw up there?
You got to go back a little bit before that, and you got to go to the fucking Steel Curtain.
Yeah, I got.
You got to go.
That's another good
one.
You got
to go with the 70s Steelers, right? That's when football was football, right?
Football. When real men played.
You see those hits though back in there. That's I guess like the 72 to 79 Steelers. You see those hits back then. You're just like, Jesus Christ, how did people not die? Like some of those hits over the middle, you're like, fuck.
Yeah. I mean, well, a lot of those guys are dead. That's a sad thing. A lot of them are dead. It's if you look, I guess if you ever Googled any of those players? I don't know. I haven't. Like, how many of them are still alive?
That'd be Jack Lambert.
I wonder if that's like a stat out there, like from the, because Pittsburgh ran the 70s. It was 74, 75, 78, 79, and then 05, 08.
2 back-to-backs.
Yeah, that's
they had 05
crazy.
And 08. So did Roethlisberger get 2?
I believe so, yeah. And then, but I'd be curious to see those players from the 70s. How many of them are still around? That's would be wild.
I'm going to see if Jack Lambert's still alive.
Yeah, they had, it's the Bradshaws,
Mean Joe Green. They had fucking.
You know how many Hall of Famers they had on those teams in the 70s? And that was back before the free agency, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Those were players you had to develop. Like you drafted them and developed them. It was no trading. It's like this is what you got.
That's what you get. You get what you get.
Yeah. So that also, that's what's different with. That's why I hate when people compare teams. You can't compare those eras because, like I said, that's a different era.
That's what makes it hard to rank. Yeah.
Because you have players where if they're fitting the right team with the right players, they're going to just excel. And, and then put that same player on another team could just have a shitty season because it's just not the right system, not with the right players. That makes a huge difference. A player has to fit the system. A player has to fit, with the coaching scheme, if they're a defensive player, with the defensive, what do they run? Do they, what type of defense? So that's why I don't like the comparisons back then.
Yeah,
and an example of that, you can't draft, so these teams had to build and develop players, and they had these players for years, which is kind of a big deal because that is a lot on your coaching. The coaches were a bigger part back then than they are now. as much because you had to, you had these players, and if they suck, that's on you. It's not like they didn't come from some other team with an attitude, or just it's like these are your players from the beginning. So if if they're not putting it, it's and this is who you drafted.
It's also hard to rank them too, because like if we shift over and think about NHL, you're like the Canadiens got 700 championships, and I was like, yeah, there were 6 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 in 6 chance. Not to take anything away from them, but I think it just makes someone like
screw the Canadians. Fuck the Canadians.
Fuck the Canadians. Toronto Maple Leaf fans would agree.
No, the team Canadians.
Oh yeah, not the people.
Talk about the Montreal. No, their championships are all that beginning stuff is bogus. You had 6 teams, and then your drafting rules. You were yanking players from Canada, the best places that they only can go to and play for you. They can't go to other teams. Like there was so much craziness back then. So it's like, but anyway, that's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole different. But the point being is like you can't rank. It's hard to rank. It's hard to compare them. It's fun to put them in ranks in terms of like what's the best dynasty ever. But in terms of like what team would beat which team, it's like different sports almost entirely at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like Bradshaw, right? He if you look at their stats, it's like they would have more interceptions than touchdowns. His completion percentage would be like 52. Yeah. And it's like, but they only threw down the field. They didn't do bubble screens. They didn't do this and that. It was either run or throw down the field. And so it was a whole different game.
It was, and you can't compare because players today, every single player on that field is an amazing athlete. And then back then, you had players that were they were great athletes at the time, but they also were appliance salesmen on the off season
or smoking cigarettes on the bench.
Yeah, so it was just a different breed of athlete. I get it; they were tough, and I get that, but also you can say, look at the guys now getting hurt every. Look how many guys the injury list. So it's like
that's tough.
It's like all these guys are getting hurt, and it's like, what are you doing? Overtraining? Is it overtraining? Is it what is it? Are they just maxing their body out, and then they're at that red line, and then one little miss, one little tweak, boom, Achilles, boom. It's like, well, no.
Where do you rate? What do you rate? Do you rate the '80s Niners over the Steelers, or how do you rate that? Because in my rankings, I'll be honest, I went number 2, San Francisco 49ers, and then Pittsburgh Steelers, I went number 4.
I would probably rank the Steelers over the Niners just because of that. I mean,
they had 2 back-to-backs.
Gosh, yeah, in the 70s. I mean, they ran the 70s. Like, it's almost the 74, 75, and it's like a break, and then boom, boom, back to back. Back-to-backs are hard. But that's hard to do, in any sport, to just win back-to-back championships. It's, it's tough, but
it is.
But right now, we'll get to that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, aren't the Kansas City Chiefs? They went back-to-back, didn't they?
That's another team. I think that could.
Are they going for 3 this time?
Yeah, they're going for 3 in a row.
That's tough.
Kansas City Chiefs are on that list. It's crazy as it sounds, they are, and I hate, people right now are hating, it was because they're winning everything.
Because they're winning.
They've been playing.
That's the way it is.
I mean,
and to be fair, this year's been an anomaly because they're not that good to watch. I've watched a little bit of it, and I'm like, this team's not great. And Mahomes has not been that great. His numbers are like, and somehow they pull this shit out of their ass. I don't know if it lasts for a Super Bowl, because eventually you're gonna run into some bad luck in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, you never know. You never know.
But you're winning on a doink field goal. You're winning on a blocked field goal. You're winning on a weird fumble where the quarterback and the center were off on snap count. Like you're winning in this weird way. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but I threw him on that list too, and then
you have to. You can keep Patrick Mahomes has been at what since he's been a starter, he's always played in the AFC Championship, something like that. Like, I mean, it's pretty crazy.
They've been in the playoffs since like 2012 till now or some shit like that.
It's a long time. Yeah,
they went Super Bowl 2019, then went to the Super Bowl 2020 and lost, but then won 22, 23, and have a chance to win 24. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like they could go, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, losing one of those, but going to the Super Bowl,
Every time. Yeah.
5 times.
That's
And
tough.
so they're on the list, also.
Gotta be.
But and then you also have to bring up the Cowboys, obviously, the Dallas Cowboys.
The 90s,
Yep.
right? Aikman, Emmett Smith.
Yep.
Michael Irvin.
How about them Cowboys? Jimmy Johnson.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah, Jimmy Johnson with the hair.
Johnson era.
And the Cowboys still
crazy.
act like that was yesterday. Cowboys fans. Yeah. You ever hear them talk like they're the greatest thing? It's like that was I remember that was in 1993, homie. Like that's a long time ago. I was 11.
92, 92, 93, 95. But that team was a great team. I mean, he had, was those Emmett Smiths, Aikmans, Woodson.
You had Moose Johnson,
Irving, Johnson. Like they had some good play. I mean, they were a great team. And then you had Jimmy Johnson was just, he benefited from that Herschel Walker trade. They traded Herschel Walker.
That was the worst trade in history, right?
They ended up getting like 2 first-rounders and then 2 second-rounders, and it ended up being like Emmett Smith, all these players, and they just fucking trucked. From that trade, Jimmy Johnson took him, and they just trucked the 90s.
Because they did something where if the people they were traded for didn't make the team, then they were contingent draft picks. But they were such high contingent draft picks. It was Herschel Walker for all these no names. All the no names got cut. So instead of the no names, they got all these draft picks the next year, which were first round, second round. And that's how they did it. And it was like, holy shit. I mean, it's brilliant at the time. I doubt it would happen again, but
no.
Yeah, they
really had that,
cleaned up after that.
Since then, they've, sucked because the Cowboys suck. But
and we got Keith. Hey, what's up, Keith? The Bradshaw Steelers, the Landry Cowboys, and the Ditka Bears. Yeah, but the Ditka Bears only won 1 championship.
Yeah, that was a good team, but
they beat my New England Patriots. Stop Bears.
Yeah, but the Cowboys are in there, and then we got you got to throw Packers. You got to throw the Packers in there for
the old ones. The Bart Starr, the frozen tundra of Lambeau.
The Packers were winning Super Bowls before there was Super Bowls.
Yeah, they won like 2 championships, right? And then they won Super Bowl 1 and 2.
They've won like 13 championships, and that's like including when it was not the Super Bowl. They've won since like 1920 something. They've been winning forever. They're just one of those teams. They ran the 6, they had the 60s, 66, 67, and then
so this we got 13 championships here, according to the old Google.
So it's one of those teams where they've just won so much. It's like they're like a Montreal Canadiens kind of thing.
Well, yeah, back in the day, you've got 29, 30, 31, 36, 39, 44. I mean, how many teams were there back then? And then 61, 62, 66.
So it's just, I think I personally would put, for me, Packers, my 5, they're just hitting it just because of how old the dynasties are, like those wins. And I know they had 2010 and 11, I believe. So they've had,
Aaron Rodgers got 1, and Brett Favre got 1. He beat my New England Patriots in 96.
Yeah, I don't know what they have.
I was pissed. 35-21. We weren't supposed to win that game, but
but
maybe we
had. And then also speaking of the Pats, got to throw them on the list, of course.
Hey,
I mean,
six. He had 6 championships. It's so wild. I got so selfish, or not selfish. I got so spoiled as a Patriots fan. It's like you lose track of how many. And he went to. There's some crazy stats that Tom Brady. This is the craziest stat I ever heard. I don't know if you heard it yet. Tom Brady did not play an NFL game in which the Patriots were eliminated from the playoffs. He never played in a meaningless game. They were always in contention for the playoffs or in the playoffs. That's wild for 20 years, dude. That's crazy.
Would you say he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah,
ever?
Yeah. I always said Montana, but I can't.
I think he passed Montana.
I think he did.
Passed Montana.
Dude,
he did. He did.
You can't, and I don't just say it as a Patriots fan. Like I'm hesitant. I was hesitant at first, but then it's like just the trajectory of his career and how Like I would say after like the first 3 Super Bowls and like his first 4 seasons, we're like, nah, that I would agree with people that it was a lot Belichick and those defenses were nasty.
Yeah.
I remember watching them like they would win games like 12-0, like 15-10. Not that he didn't have good games, but those defenses were nasty, and that's when you can hold receivers down the field when they had like Ty Law and all them. But I would say that he's the greatest. Some of those.
Then he goes to Tampa and still plays at that high level. It's like it's so. But that's what I'm saying. It's him. Also, he's a huge part of it. Coach, yeah, I get it. Coaching and schemes and offenses make make you look a lot better. But then when you bail and you go to another team and you still produce at a high level, it's like there's just those players.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'd say I get the Montana argument, but I just don't think. I think he passed him with
how long he played for and his like.
How many Super Bowls?
He's got 7, 6 for the Patriots, 1 for he was 7-3. Yeah, Tom Brady played in like he played in what was it like half of the Super Bowls that he was in the league for. Tom Brady was in half the Super Bowls since he started in the league and quit. He played in half of them. That's crazy. Like what was it? Was it the Detroit Lions have only won 1 playoff game in their history?
Playoffs.
Yeah,
that's come on. He's won. That's what I'm saying. He leaves New England and goes and wins a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
So that's another one we can talk about later. But so obviously the Patriots are on there, So
yeah.
Sorry.
Until recently, they had only won one. The Lions only won 1 playoff game since 1957. And that was in 1991. So when you compare a franchise like that with a player who how many playoff wins does Brady have? Tom Brady's playoff record,
all of them.
He's 35 and 13 in the playoffs. That's crazy. That's 48 playoff games.
No, yeah, it's
playoffs.
That's why for a while there, when I was in that time when there was all going on. I'm just like, dude, I was just pissed. Like, it just sucks.
I'm sure it's annoying to everyone.
But
while I laughed my ass off.
But it's like after a while, it's just like, well, it's something I probably won't see in my lifetime again.
Mahomes is really pushing because Mahomes is having one of those early Brady seasons where it's like you look at his numbers, you're like, he's not that good. But then you look at the record and you're like, somehow he's going to pull it off.
If he continues, but I just don't know. I don't know if he can. How many more does he have to get?
20 years is a long time.
How many more does he need to get? What else does he need to do? And is he going to make it? Health. He just got hurt in the last game, I think. Health wise, he's a more mobile quarterback than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He'll take off and run. He's a runner. Tom Brady's not.
Makes me nervous.
Tom Brady's not a gazelle. He's like,
dude, I'm pretty sure I could beat Tom Brady in a race.
He's like Kirk Cousins. I was watching him last night.
Did you see he got benched? I haven't verified this. He's getting
finally. I hope
Michael
so.
Penix.
Oh my gosh! I was at the Monday Night Football game last night and watching him play live
in Vegas,
in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium, and watching. Oh my gosh! Like he has to still have an injury or something. Something's still bothering him because it's you're just watching it. It's like. I think it's maybe just the old guys. Him, Rodgers. Rodgers, same way. They just look old. They're just getting old. And you can tell it's like time to put the rookie in. After last night, they won barely, but the Raiders had a chance to win the game. And they should have just smoked them. Their defense is playing well. Their special teams are blocking punts. They blocked 2 punts. Like got a forced fumble. Yeah,
2.
And their offense. Yeah, and their offense. Can't get shit done and have players. And it's Cousins just can't throw the ball. It's like you have all these things. What's the denominator? 7 interceptions and 1 touchdown in the last 3 games.
Something like that.
Yeah. What team with the best defense in the league is you're not going to win? Because you need to start scoring points. It's like if you don't, that it's just so good. I hope so. I want the rook. Let's go. But yeah, Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. But yeah, it was just watching them like, no.
Was that the first time you'd been to the Raiders Stadium?
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually really easy, really cool. It was easy to do because I'm only about 15 minutes from there. So
yeah,
Sarah just went and dropped me and my son went and dropped us off, and literally right at the bridge where we walk over to the stadium. We just walked over and we went inside first, got some pizza, ate, but walked right there, and then it takes you right to the entrance right where we were sitting, right up top, and then walked right out and walked down the street, and she picked us up and we were gone.
Yeah. That's nice.
So
speaking of Raiders, would you put the Raiders in there? I mean, it's not really a dynasty, but you got what? Like the Raiders had the 77, 81, 84.
I mean, they could be in the conversation. I think they can be brought up. I don't think they're going to bump any of those teams. Like I said, I'd put for my number 5, actually, you know what? Let's take a break and then we'll come back. And then
we'll take a quick break.
I need a little warm up and a little refresher before we go into the.
Yeah, let's loop it then. What do we want here? How about some of this? Yeah. Some of this, and we'll be right back. All right. I saw a guy at Elise's ballet that looked exactly like Matthew McConaughey. I was like, oh shit! All right. Yeah, it was.
He'd be a fun guy to like hang with. Mm-hmm. Just feel like just whatever, just sitting, smoking some weed, drinking a little whiskey. If it's just hanging, just listen to stories and shit. I think he'd be. I don't really know much about him, like personal life stuff, but just from what I've seen on TV and movies, and I like his. I don't know. I just like his vibe.
He seems like he's a good storyteller.
Yeah. You can just he's like a Morgan Freeman. See that? I see the white man's Morgan Freeman. Like whenever that guy talks, it's just like you listen.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan.
Yeah. Morgan's the man. All right. So who else we got?
All right. So wait. So we're gonna throw that Oakland, I guess, in there.
Throw him in there.
And we can start forming the 5. Like I said, I was thinking more like the Pack at 5 would be my
Packers.
My number 5. The Packers number 5 is the for the list.
I had them at 5 too.
Yeah, I think that's where I would I'd throw them. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just trying to make sure we didn't miss any. What about what about Washington? No, probably not, huh? Because they only had.
No, it's hard. It's hard to find. Bowls, right? Yeah, it's there's not a lot of teams with this that.
But you got the Dolphins. The Dolphins had back-to-back, didn't they? The
Dolphins did. Yeah, was that the Shula era?
I believe so. Yeah.
They can be.
They were the one that they went undefeated, right?
So that they're in the top conversation too. Yeah, the only team that's ever been undefeated, right?
Well, throughout through the Super Bowl.
yeah.
I
mean that's the whole season.
I remember fucking watching because the Patriots they played the Giants the last game of the season, and I remember thinking, if we go undefeated, we're gonna lose the fucking Super Bowl. I remember thinking that, and I saw the Giants. I was like, I really hope we don't play this team in the Super Bowl. No. There was I was like, I don't know what it is about that they're not even that great. but there's something about him that was like, damn, I don't want to run. It was like the Edmonton Oilers for the Sharks in the first round that one year. I was like, I don't want to play this team.
They're dangerous.
Sure
team.
enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Yeah, I got us twice.
I mean, usually generally in like sports, it's starting off rough isn't necessarily a bad thing for a team.
No.
Starting off on fire and then kind of like what the Chiefs are doing a little bit. They started off just smoking and now they're kind of stumbling. Kind of the same thing with, you can say, with Detroit now with all the injuries.
Oh man, they can't stop anyone.
Yeah, now all of a sudden it's like that team is just like, they were killing it and all, it's like, damn, it's like they were up here and now is it like, are they hitting? And then you got teams that, kind of struggle at the beginning that are coming through and looking good. I mean, you have, look at even the Packers. I never thought I thought they still sucked, but they're still up there. They're up and down. But
and the Eagles. The Eagles have won 10 in a row.
Yeah. The Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, so you have like a team like the Packers, I think, is one of those dangerous teams. Because they're staying under the radar. I never even really thought of them, and then I'm like, damn, they're actually, they could be one of those teams you don't want to play.
Rams too.
Yeah.
Now that they got all their guys back.
Yeah, same thing, and that's what I think with Green Bay. They picked up, they got Jacobs, which isn't one of those flashy running backs, but the guy can run the ball. He's been in Oakland. He's been in the Raiders. Just crap team.
Where careers go to die.
Yeah, now all of a sudden, look at Saquon Barkley. Same thing. Giants was just, he was good on the Giants and they sucked. And then he goes to the Eagles and look at him. It's like, fuck. It's crazy.
Could you imagine being the guy who kept and paid Daniel Jones $40 million and let Saquon go, and then Daniel Jones gets cut? I think he's on the Vikings or something.
Could you imagine if that guy still has a job, and that guy that did that still has a job, and those two guys?
No way. Who's Daniel Jones playing for now?
Gosh, I don't know. Did someone, because he got waived, right?
He got waived. Yeah, he's on the Vikings. He must be their second or third stringer.
Dang, Falcons should have picked him up. Got rid of Cousins. Put Penix out there.
Penix can't. I mean, I guess he can be worse, but Cousins looks slow. Like everything was a step behind.
Well, see, Penix also needs to get in there soon. He's not one of these rookies that you can sit on the bench for a few years. I think he's already he's like 20 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's drafted. His first year drafted, but he's one of those COVID.
He went to college. Oh, yeah. You got a free year, right?
A free. I think they got like couple years or something like that. So really? That's why he was 28 years old and like still playing college football, because he got a couple years eligibility at half that.
Yeah.
So he's he's older, where you have these young quarterbacks that are drafted that might be 22, 23.
22. Yeah.
So he already has some age on him. So, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because he's especially as you see in football, is these guys bulk up as they get older. Just with age, and stuff.
Penix is 24.
Or 24, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's older. 28, 24. But he's older, where you got these young kids that are coming in the league, 3,
that's
4 years.
That's an old rookie. 24 is an old rookie for sure.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. He already has a few years where, these young guys can sit on the bench and watch and learn for another year or two, and they're all right. He needs to get in fairly quick. He can't be waiting another season. And then he's gonna be 25, 26.
No, he'll be the starter. He'll be the starter next year for sure from day one.
Oh, I hope so. I hope he's the starter from here on out.
Cousins might not even fucking make the team. Yeah, this guy Cousins went 6, 7, 8, 9. He went 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions in his last 5.
Yeah.
Ugh. Puke. All right, so we got the Green Bay Packers. The 4. Owned by the people of the city of Green Bay. That's a cool thing. Yeah. Number 4.
Who would you put 4?
4, I put I gotta remember. I went 1, 2, 3. I went the Steel Curtain. The Pittsburgh Steelers.
You went 4th Steelers? I went I disagreed with you on that.
Well,
I went the old Cowboys. I put the Cowboys at 4. The reason I put Cowboys 4 is because they had a run, but it was
got 2. They got 2 runs.
Yeah, and it was just that small little run. But what they did with that team, how they, the players that came from, everything. So that's why I put them at 4. I think the Steelers were they had a better run than the Cowboys. If we're going to put I don't even know if you have the Cowboys on your list.
Well, I'm starting to think I might have to go back. I might have to say the Cowboys over the Packers, only because the Cowboys had a run in the 70s, kind of overshadowed by the Steelers because of the 70s.
Yeah.
But then also had a run in the 90s. And what have the Packers had since the 60s? One with Favre, one with Rodgers, but no runs.
No, they haven't had really any.
So I take it back. I go Cowboys, then Steelers. No Packers. Packers have to go 6 for me.
Bump Packers.
I got to bump them.
I could see that Packers for
But then again, like it's hard to go. I mean, if we're just talking franchises, though, it's hard to go on the run of quarterbacks they had. Like if Jordan Love's good, so it sounds like they hit on Favre, then they hit on Rodgers, then they hit on Love. Like they haven't had a bad quarterback for like 30 years, which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot with the whole management of the team, the whole office,
which I think they've always done well.
Yeah, the GM. That's on the GM for getting the right people to draft, and that's. Those are, and I get why players want to go play for those organizations. It seems like they really know their shit, and they're gonna, you're not gonna be taken care of. Instead of a place like, what's the Raiders known for? Where players go to die. Literally, that's
moving.
Yeah, it's like but I think the Raiders get a lot of players because growing up as a kid, I want to play for the Raiders. And a lot of kids.
Well, they were badass, dude. Like the pirate, the black and silver, like.
They've
tough. Oakland's a tough city. LA,
they've lost. I mean, they've lost their edge the last few years. It hasn't just been like. I mean, it's been. I think even when they were in Oakland, they just kind of lost. They were losing it. I think that's why Davis is selling off. He's been selling. He just sold off another piece of the team. So Brady owns a chunk, and then he sold another piece. And I think he sold like 3 pieces of that team already this year. So I think he's
no disrespect, but their fan base is a bit much. It's like, come on, guys.
You should see last night where I was at. Oh my gosh, it's.
If you're badass and you're smoking people, but if you're just bad and you're like dressed up like Vader, it's like.
I was walking out with. Yeah, I'll share some pictures. Guy dressed in,
share it in the group.
I'll share it in the group, and a guy in front of us in the middle of the game took his shirt off, was swinging, which was fun. I was laughing. It was hilarious. It's fun. Yeah. They were actually cool, but it's the people that. And I get, I guess dressing up a little bit, but there's people that are like, dang, like in full costume. Like it's all like, you probably dress up better for these games than you do for like Halloween, like parties.
Yeah. Only to watch Desmond Ritter put up 9 points. It's like, what are we doing here?
And it's wild. And then you got the fan base like that. And then you got people that are just angry. Like all night.
That's every fan base though,
But I mean, the angry of like they're walking there like last night. They was walking after one of the interceptions. Fuck you! It's like fuck this team. Fuck them. They just stop.
Just expect you're 3-11.
They left like halfway through the fourth, and the fucking Raiders had a chance to win the game at the end, and they left. They were already pissed. They were already fucking pissed. They were screaming. They have signs like they're pissed, but angry, but like violently. Angry. They get violently angry though. That's the problem. They get violent angry, and luckily last night was nothing like that, which was cool.
That's good.
That was the first Raider game I've been to
ever. Huh?
And there was probably, and that's the thing here though. That's the going, I guess, joke is. It's like Raiders don't have a home anymore.
They got 17 away games.
Yeah, it's like when they're here, like even last night, it was probably 50-50. And then when you have teams like the Chiefs come in town, it's like
see a red
60, 70, 30. Chiefs have more fans. It is.
Well, that's what you get for moving around franchises so much. Yeah. Like it wouldn't make sense in like England. Like Chelsea's not leaving London, right? Like And you move franchises, and LA. Same thing happens in LA too, right? With like 49ers go down there, it's like a half red, half blue and yellow for the Rams.
Yeah, same thing. Pretty much any team. We'll see. This week's supposed to be Jacksonville. I'll be curious to see if a lot of Jacksonville shows up.
You can probably get tickets for that easy.
Yeah, I was looking. I got those tickets, and our tickets were nice. I mean, I liked 400 section, which is the very top. But we were the first row, literally on the glass, right at the aisle, right on the end of the aisle, and it was $100 a ticket. And I found some cheap as $65 a seat, and those seats where we were at were perfect. You could see the whole field. The players, you can see every player. You know who every player is because you could see the number. You can almost read the name around the back. That's how good the seats were, without having to like binoculars. You can just sit there. So that stadium's really the way they have it situated and set up. It's it's a little steeper, so you're not as far back like the old stadiums. I think are more of a bowl. So if you're up top, you're kind of way away. Where here you're kind of like this. Kind of like a stadium seat more. So it's more. Like the seat in front of us, your feet are like on top of the seat.
Oh, cool.
Where, so the next person is like, down here, where at normal, you usually put your drinks in the back of their chair. Not here. You can't because they are sitting down. So that's kind of how steep it is.
But cool. Probably works out better.
Yeah. And doing that, you're kind of right on top of the field more, which gives you great seats. So the view actually is, I liked it better than being down low and then being up like 23 or 24 rows up. So I would definitely, after last night, I'd definitely go to a game. It was cool. The walk people, there was no one, you have just like any football game, your banter. But a lot of
that's crazy that people were leaving though before it was over. I was watching Spurs play Southampton this weekend. Spurs were up 4-0 after 13 minutes and people were leaving. Could you imagine leaving after 13 minutes? I mean, I know you're getting your ass kicked and Spurs won, but could you imagine leaving after 13 minutes of going to like a major sporting event? That's wild. You're like, fuck this.
I mean, I can see it in Vegas. There's something to go do.
There's something to go do.
Screw it. We're going to the casino. We're going to a club. We're going to bars. We're going to.
Fuck it.
You leave and you're walk across the freeway right over the path and you're in adult fun land.
Sin City. Yeah. So we got number 3 then. So, we're down to our third.
Yeah, so third, I mean, that's where I kind of put my what did I put third? Oh, I put San Francisco.
Oh, that's where I put. Okay.
That's where I put San Francisco third. Because then I put Steelers second.
Okay.
But so I think San Francisco for me was about a top 3. Definitely a top 3. They had that, and we got to hear all about it just, living where we live. So it was like kind of in your face when they were doing it. And, when you live in that area, it's like, all the Niner fans growing up and it's like, so.
They earned it though. Those teams were unbelievable.
No, they definitely earned it. That's what I'm saying. We got to kind of live it. You got to kind of live it a little more than having, a team that, like the Cowboys, like, there's no Cowboy fans. So everyone here is all pissed off because the Niners don't win. So, but being here when they're going through that, as a kid growing up, you're seeing.
I love those teams. Ronnie Lott was my favorite player.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got to live those, So I think emotionally too, you got a little emotional attachment to the, that kind of those teams. And then the Steve Young at the end is, we were a little older than that, so you kind of got to go through another one. And even though I wasn't a Niner fan, you just got to live that that vibe, being where we were, the area we lived.
I got I got them too. I got the 49ers too. I actually had the Chiefs 3 because I'm not a fan of the Chiefs necessarily, but
I had the Chiefs 2.
Okay.
I put the Chiefs 2 just because. So look at where the Chiefs, and this is why I put Chiefs 2. But we can all agree who number 1 is. It's without a doubt. I think our fight is 2 through 3. Well, 2 and 3 is kind of the
we all know. Tom,
I mean,
terrific.
let's just get that out of the way. We all understand the Patriots. I get it. I hated it. I had to live through it.
You had to live through
Yes.
the worst.
It fucking sucked.
Worst, like, because that Super Bowl, I remember, like, I remember thinking, like, oh my God, Andy must be just so, like,
fucking sucked. It all
like,
sucked. It just sucks. So
I couldn't imagine, because, like, I was already spoiled at that time. I was like, well, we're getting our ass kicked in this one. Fuck it. Like, I remember my brother tried to leave like 3 or 4 times from we're at my parents' house. He put his jazz, put your fucking coat on. It's the Super Bowl. Or take your coat off. It's the fucking Super Bowl, and sit down. Like, we're sitting through this like men.
I left the game.
You did?
Yes, sir. I left the game when we were winning.
You're like, fuck it.
I told her. I said, we're gonna lose this game. She's all, stop being so negative. Stop. I was like, you don't know. You're not a Falcons fan. You don't know what's gonna. I know. It's like being a Sharks fan.
When did you know?
When we had the huge lead.
It was 28-3 in the third. You were like, we're losing?
We're going to lose this game. I told her.
Oh, I was like, no, we ain't winning this game.
No,
he had the pick six. I was like, there ain't no way.
I went.
Really?
There's a picture of me holding a baby on the couch, because I just went and held the baby in the other room because everyone's watching the game. I said, no, we're going to lose this game.
The baby was shooting you.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, ask Sarah. She was like, she's like, I remember you. I said, I've been a Falcons fan. It's like being a Sharks fan. I just knew it. I had a feeling like we're going to lose this game. I knew it. It's not. I did not see, like, it's like I pictured my whole life and I did not see a Super Bowl in it. And I'm like, that's why it's not going to happen.
Do you see a Stanley Cup though? That's all I care about.
I do. That's what pisses me off. Is I felt that for a while. I've never felt like there's a Super Bowl. Even now, I'll never see a Falcons Super Bowl.
You don't think so?
It's just not going to happen. It's just that team. It's just. And I
they've been to 2, right? They lost to Green Bay.
Oh God, yeah. It's just
no. They lost to Denver. Sorry.
It's
John Elway got him.
The Patriots one. Just that was it. I still love the Falcons. I'll watch them play. I just know a championship's not in the in that game. I told Sarah, I said, no, I'm leaving the room. I got out, and she's like, oh my gosh, why, if they're winning, they're not going to lose this game. I can't believe it. I'm like, I just know it's just what's going to happen.
I was like, I just kept saying, I mean, I kept telling Chris, I was like, just sit down and take your whooping. We're getting whooped. We've been spoiled our whole fucking life, dude. We take our whooping. And then it was just like, and then it was happening. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, that catch, that Edelman, I was just, everything had to go a certain way. Like, down to like every inch. Because I remember there was one, like, Jones caught that ball and they're like, oh, they're in field goal range. We're definitely not going to win. And then somehow there's like a holding call and they go back. Like, it was just like everything went sideways so fast for y'all.
I know something was happening as I heard people yelling and screaming, and they're yelling at me, get in here, you gotta walk. Like, and so I went out in the backyard. No, I went outside after that. I went outside backyard, and I was sitting out there with the people that, when they go to Super Bowl parties, there's always, a little group of people. They kind of all get together because they're not football people. They just there because their spouses or girlfriend, whatever. Yeah. So I ended up sitting out there with them, and I could hear them inside, and you can see them through the windows. And I'm like, they're just looking at me and just like shaking their head. I'm like,
ain't no way.
I told you. Yeah, I told them, like, oh my God, I knew it. Like,
that was the craziest Super Bowl I ever saw by far.
Through all that pain and all that shit, I mean, what do you say though? You can't. I mean, I can say, fuck them. They're not my number 10. It's like, I mean, 01, 03, 04, 2014, 16, 18. It's like, and everything in between. And everything in between that.
Like I said,
he went championships.
Brady went. The only time they missed the playoffs, they lost a game. Like, after they won the Super Bowl 2002, they were like 9-7 or something, and they missed the playoffs at the end. And then they missed the playoffs when Brady blew his knee out that year, first game. They still went 11-5 with Matt Castle. 11. That team was just crazy. 11-5 with fucking Matt Castle, and he lit it up that year. He was great.
And that's what the thing with, like you said, with Brady is, like, with the coach, like, Brady is a quarterback greatest because he can go play and win a Super Bowl somewhere else, but also Belichick as a coach can bring in some pud and make him look like an incredible quarterback.
See, that's the thing. Like,
they had that combo.
It was,
it's like in hockey having that, Rocket Richard winning player and the Vezina winner on the same team. They got that combo. It's just, they had that combo. That was their combo. Belichick wasn't a player. He was the, what do you call those guys? The conductor.
Yeah, I bet you wouldn't be able to tell me when Matt Castle played until.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. So, what years was that? What years was he with the Pats?
That was 2008.
How long after he played?
Yeah.
Was he done? Was that it? Was that his final season?
No,
I gave him 2 more seasons.
He played until 2018.
Holy shit! Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
When did he come in the league? Was that his
2005? He went Patriots, then Kansas City for 4 seasons, then Minnesota, Buffalo, Dallas, Tennessee, Detroit. He just got passed around.
I mean, that's pretty impressive though, to hang around the league that long and playing, and making teams, not getting cut.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was good enough to do that.
Yeah.
But
the run the Kansas City Chiefs are on is pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think I put him at number 2 because, I mean, look when they bring up their playoff run, just how many times they made the playoffs. So like their streak for
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, their playoff streak is.
Let's see, playoff history. Here we go. We've got
how many?
2023 Super Bowl win. 2022 Super Bowl win. They played the Eagles. Did they really? Why didn't I remember that?
Yeah.
They did. Oh yeah, they did. 2021. They lost the conference championship to the Bengals. 2020, they lost the Super Bowl to Brady. 2019, they won the Super Bowl against the 49ers. 2018, that was Mahomes' first playoffs. They lost that crazy game to New England in the overtime. And that was that overtime game. And I think that's when they changed the rules or something, because like if you get the playoff, if you get the ball and go down, it's over. If you kick a field goal or something. But maybe not. I could be wrong on that.
So in like their playoff run goes years. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts from like how many
playoff run? Yeah, then before that, 2015, 16, 17, they all made the playoffs. But that was with Alex Smith, I think.
Yeah.
And then just before that, 13. So they missed the playoffs in 2014. Was the last time.
So it's crazy. It's like to be a playoff team that long.
10 years.
Now and to be winning Super Bowls now. And if they get 24 somehow, if they somehow pull that off,
they'd be pushing for, because three-peat no one's three-peat before, have they?
I don't know.
In NFL? I don't think so. Not in NFL.
No one.
That'd be the first.
Does that give them enough though to put them at number 1? A 3-peat?
I don't know. Well, it's hard to say. Because the Patriots had 6 in like 18 years. Something like that. 18 years. 2001 to 2018.
Yeah.
To win a Super Bowl every 3rd year for that long is crazy.
Mm-hmm. No, it's.
But a 3-peat is crazy too.
So I mean, and to have that playoffs, missing the playoffs, what's 2014 all the way to 2020, that'd bring them into 2025. 11-year playoff streak.
11.
And then a 3-peat, and like I don't know, it'd be I don't know. It's definitely a.
So the Patriots went 2001, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 7, missed 8, went 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah. So they have a crazy run too. So I don't know. I think there's not quite. They would have to. They're not winning 4 in a row if they even got 3. I don't see that happening.
I don't think
This team, I think right now the Chiefs. This is their last go at it for like a Super Bowl.
I think it's their worst team in the Mahomes era as far as like they have a good defense. I'll give them that. They have a great defense. I just don't know who they have. Like, who do they have? Kelsey's old, and the other guys are like super young.
Kelsey's just getting old,
Pacheco?
and that's Pacheco, and he's injured. I think he might be back, or going to be back for playoffs.
I think he came back last week, maybe.
So I mean, you never know when the playoffs start, but
Mahomes injured, so we'll see how bad it really is. They ain't going to tell us. I mean, they'll say it's not bad. He's probably day to day. He'll always be. That's what they do with Brady all the time too. Brady was always on the fucking injury list.
And he was on the sidelines, I think, at the game, at the end of the game. So it wasn't like he was in the back. So I mean, if he was on the sidelines walking around, they probably said, "Fuck it, why are you even playing?" I mean, I don't know. That's another thing too. That's another thing. I was watching the Detroit game, and you got 3 players or something like that in that game go out, like season-ending stuff. And it's like, why are you playing your players like this hard at the end of the season? I understand it's that mentality, but you're destroying, like, their team is falling apart with injuries. Like, is there like a balance? Like, do you just like cut their touches in half? Like, because
they lost their money back.
They're 12-1. You know, they need to have a catastrophic failure to not make the playoffs. I understand you want to get the 1 seed and stuff, but at a certain point, do you kind of like, instead of giving your running back 40 touches, maybe you give him 25? Just lift his load a little bit, let him rest, let him heal. Look at McCaffrey again. Done. Like, he comes back from his back from his injury and like going, here's the ball 500 times. Like,
that's what they did too.
And it's like these guys are being like,
did you see that Hutchinson guy break his leg on the Lions?
That's crazy.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I saw one replay. I'm like, that's it. That's all. That's it.
I got whip around. He like got whipped, and his leg just went. It was like Anderson Silva type thing.
I could see it after it's happened. Like, if a picture of you're seeing the guy laying there, it's like, that's there. Fine. I'm okay with that. My mind can process that. It's when you see the video of things actually happening that just
Did you see the Nick Chubb one?
Was that the
kneecap? The Browns running back?
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Holy fuck.
I think I've ever seen that.
That one was brutal.
Yeah. And I can't, that's the weird thing, is like, that stuff freaks me out. I can't handle it. And I used to be a funeral director's assistant.
That's wild.
That's another podcast. I said some stories, and I've seen some things, and I was okay because it was happened. It was there. It's like it's here. Like, if I can't watch like car crash videos on like Instagram, TikTok. Anxiety. I can't do that. I don't like watching it happen. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But after the fact that it's happened and I see it, like I said, I've been to, working that job. I've been to those things and seen things, and it didn't bother me. But if I would have seen it happen, like people get hit by trains and stuff like that, then I would just
Right.
So, but yeah, so I don't know. But anyway,
did you ever show up to a scene when someone got hit by a train?
Yeah. Oh. Who do you think cleans that up?
Well, I just, but how long do you work there? I mean, not a lot of people get hit by trains, do they?
Oh, yeah. It happens in Chico. It happens a lot. Sure. You'd be surprised how many times it happens, especially there with a lot of people and you know what a lot of them are? Drunk kids passing out, getting drunk, and like laying down or falling down asleep. It's happened. It sounds crazy. It's happened. It's happened. This particular one was a woman, an old woman committing suicide.
By train?
Yeah, she just stood in front of it. And I'm the one. So Chico doesn't have a coroner's office, but we can talk. We can make this a whole podcast if we want to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that some other time.
But yeah, so I have a lot of different stories. But yeah, it's and so in short, it's like Chico doesn't have a coroner, so funeral homes rotate. Funeral home I worked for had 2 funeral homes, so we were a coroner's office almost every other month.
Wow.
So we got to go on, scenes, car suicides, murders, anything that happens in the city. I did removals from hospitals, old folks' homes, to personal. But like you watch the CSI when they like people come in and they're moving the body, grabbing the body, and so when detectives were taking photos and stuff like that, I would have to move the body for them, do all that stuff, and then remove the body, and then remove every piece of that person I can get in a bag. So yeah, the train one was pieces. We had to pick her up from every pieces. But yeah, and then the bag the next day was soupy. But yeah, I've seen a lot of different, and then so yeah, and I got to help with autopsies. I got to help with 4.
That'd be interesting,
4.
I guess. Not really my vibe.
Yeah, I'd have to help. So when a crime or something would happen,
I saw a funny comment that asked, "Do autopsies hurt?"
I imagine so. If you're alive,
wouldn't be an autopsy, then would it? It would be a murder.
It would be a murder.
Do autopsies hurt? Yeah. Okay, buddy.
So, yeah, I'd help the doctor take notes and help him. But I was able to do some interesting things, like I've removed things and cut body parts and done stuff. So it's
fun
with the doctor and stuff. Yeah. So just doing it a few times and stuff, you get to know the doctors and everything. But yeah, it was an interesting job. I did it for 1.5 years.
It's a long time to be handling bodies.
And this was back when you had to got a job in the paper, found in the paper. The classifieds. We go like job description said, able to lift heavy objects.
And it said heavy objects.
Yeah. So I went there and I called Sarah and said, we're at a funeral home. So
the objects are people, Sarah. The objects are people.
Yeah, we can talk about that so much.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to do top 5 crime things. Yeah, well, this has been good. We'll figure something out for Friday, and then we'll be taking a break. So if you're listening, we'll be taking a break probably next week, probably the whole week. Maybe we'll come back Sunday or the Friday. I mean, but we'll be here the 20th, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Take some time, spend it with the family. I got to go do some Christmas shopping still. So
I got to do a lot of that still too. Coming up on the 11th hour here, so I got to get rolling on that.
I got most of it done. So
nice, right on. All right, well, we'll see you later, folks. And if you're listening, rate and review the show on Apple, Spotify, wherever, and we'll see you then.
Yeah, and if you have any suggestions of top 5, let us know. If
suggestions,
anybody wants to hear about any top 5 stuff, so
that's right. Smoking on top 5. Get the fuck out of here.
Deuces.